Personally, I've got a problem with this petrol. The petrol that I'm using every day in the car before, because now it's 4 years that I'm driving electric. Before, I was not having this moral comfort. I was not comfortable with this. Why? Because I've been working in Africa, and I see that this is a kind of blood of Africa. That's the blood of Africa from my point of view. So I think it's possible to move forward and in different fields, mobility, housing system, energy, solidarity, we can move forward to adopt a new energy. So I start working with mobility because that was a tool for me to show that it's possible to do differently. So my background is study Africa, African tribe. Also, I've been working in humanitarian organizations like Médicos Sin Fronteras, see? Okay, and that gives me also the point of view that we still use this triangular trade, you know, resources from Africa transform into Asia, where people are not living so well, and those products are coming to our places, and we don't know much about all those social impacts. And I've been studying Africa, and I saw that I mainly study on the relation between man and nature. How do the men succeed to use what they have under their hands? What is the land giving to them, and what they can do with the land? Our system is very different. We are eating our land, but we are also eating the land of the others, which is somewhere unfair. So I believe we can go forward and find other things. So I start using tools to show that it might be possible to do in another way. So I got the chance to tour around Africa with a canoe. The canoe was made out of fiber, natural fiber, and natural resins. So that's an experience that shows that we can do that. And then I've been doing some exhibition about the changes of climate in Africa, and also I've been traveling with 2 different prototypes. Those were the first prototype, because I made a promise in Dakar. I said to the president, next time I will come to Dakar, but without using petrol. Unfortunately, I came back to Belgium, and I just witnessed the fact that there were not electric cars available on the market, able to reach Dakar. Because to reach Dakar, of course, you have tarmac road nowadays, but you need at least 200 kilometers of range, because there are not filling stations everywhere. Filling station, I mean plug station, because electric cars can be plugged anywhere. So I decided to build my own car, because there was no car on the market. So the first one helped me to reach Dakar in 165 hours driving. That was the first prototype, and that was a tool for me just to show that it's possible to move forward and to use new technologies and to use electricity, and electricity made with solar panels and so on. Solar panels are well known in Africa. I took some pictures from solar power station were installed 35 years ago. So 35 years ago, without maintenance, without much problems, and still working nowadays. So last year, I was willing to double all the quality of the first prototype. That's a 2 seats, 400 kilometers range, and 110 kilometers maximum speed. Of course, those are prototypes. But I came to understand that there are very few people who would like to use those things nowadays. There could be solutions, but the problem is that, as you know, nowadays we buy a design, an image. We don't buy a car anymore. Most of the cars have the same engines and so on. So to answer those things, we came up with the idea of doing a car with design, of course, and a car made locally with local resources, linen in this case, resin from potatoes and other vegetables, and recycling iron also from ArcelorMittal. We have ArcelorMittal also in Belgium with some problems, of course, because they want to stop production in Belgium. So the idea was also to answer some expectation from the people, 300 kilometers range, but you know the price of 300 kilometers range. But it's possible, of course, to reduce the range. 130 kilometers speed, because that's the minimum to use the highway. And at least 3 people, and that's on 3 wheels. Why 3 wheels? Because this is another type of homologation. And I think the future might not be necessary for wheels on a car. We have to be light. If we want to drive electric, we have to be light. So a way to be light is to turn to other type of cars or vehicles. So design and full electric, that was the aim. And full electric might be also in link with housing system. Huh? So this is about technique, but you know better than me, probably. And of course, to homologate such a kind of vehicle, the previous one, that takes time. So meanwhile, I'm developing such a kind of vehicle, which is, let's say, old-fashioned look. But this is fiberglass, also a vegetal composite. And I just finished a Tour de France with this car, 4,000 kilometers. And that car with a range extender could reach 250 kilometers range. The idea was to do conferences, 12 conferences with film that I've done during the other trips in Africa. And just to show that it's possible to do long distance also and to plug that car anywhere. Of course, the charger is made to use 12 amps anywhere, house, system, in the hotel, in the restaurant, whatever. So that's just, let's say, a temporary vehicle where I'm using the Iskra engines, the computer that we developed, the BMS and other stuff that we have to test for the eye care. So meanwhile, we also developed this kind of vehicle, which is a racing vehicle. And that's mainly made to promote electric vehicle on the racing course, because it's a way to go further. Because homologation, if you drive on a racing course, you don't have to homologate it. You don't have plate number. You don't have insurance. Yes, the insurance of the racing course, of course, that's different. So that's also a way to go further with those ideas. The body is also bio-generated, biodegradable, and we'll present it for the first time in Brussels Car Show in January, coming January. So we are a bit on work on that. So the development of those vehicles were made with the help of universities, 3 universities in Belgium, in the 3 regions. You know, Belgium is a kingdom, but divided into regions. So we tried to involve different regions in that project. So we try to create something new, but of course we hand in some normal problems, car problems. So we have to go to engineers and computer system to do crash tests and to study the sakes, the frame, the driving system, body suspension, etc. So bio-generated body, what does that mean? That we can use local stuff, local textile. In Belgium, we are lucky because we have a kind of monopoly concerning the linen, which is stuff like cotton. And by chance, we have a lot of different ways to weaving it, so we can easily find material to use it as a composite material. Yeah, that's other project. Of course, before designing the vehicle, we do we try to understand what are the expectations of the people. Expectation doesn't mean people will adopt it, of course. Huh? Because if you ask people at the entry of a car show what they will see, what they want to see, 87% of the people in Brussels say, I come for the electric car, but it is not true, of course. They come for Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever, to dream. So we have done a study on 16,000 people just to know what they are ready to adopt as an electric vehicle. So this is concerning, of course, the daily use of the vehicle, up to 75%, the range that they want to do every day, the time of charging, and the minimum speed of the vehicle. Beside that, of course, when you have a car, you have to put it somewhere. So we also work on prototype of housing system, self-power housing system that doesn't have to be plugged, using the water from the sky, but of course with a certain limit. So we have to recycle it. And of course, this house has a level of isolation quite high, 12K. I don't know if you have similar quotation here in Spain, 12K. So you, more or less, if you have 40 meters square of living space, those are prototype of social houses. Are cubes, you see, it's made, the first one is made out of 3 cubes. Of course, with a level like that, with a computer, a tower computer, you can hit the whole 40 meters square, which is not so bad. So the house is powered by solar or windmill, and the extra production of electricity, because the consumption is very low, it's stored in the batteries of the vehicle, and then during the night, at the time you don't have sun, of course, you can use the part of the electricity from the batteries of the car to fill your house. And of course, those houses are not using 220 volts, they are on 12 volts, and everybody knows that it's working on 12 volts. For leisure, of course, sailing boat, caravans, camping car, working on 12 volts. So what we do for leisure, we can do it for the daily life, I guess, I suppose. I saw that in Africa, so I saw people stuck in the farm, no way to be plugged, and they produce their own electricity in that way. Sometimes they drive during the full day on their farm, they come back, they plug their house on their car batteries. That's something maybe to use. So we developed this concept. This concept is mainly for communication with a space of mobility and the prototype of housing system that's in Brussels. And we have also a classroom for some lectures and some exhibition. So this idea, of course, the idea is to try to produce a house in link with mobility, but a house without invoice at the end of the month. No cost. That's the idea. Of course, that's a prototype. It's, it's not allowed because you have to be plugged. But if it's not allowed, it's because of the law, and the law are made by men. So that's a way to push, because the car and the house, those prototypes are supported by the state. If the state supports them, means that they agree with this idea. So they have to go further with the law later on. Otherwise, there are no means to support something which is forbidden. See what I mean? So further on, about the car, to reduce, of course, the weight and the price, we have to develop some biofuel generator with gas, with methanol, fuel cell. Those things we are working on. And I believe that if we don't go further, we maybe use, as the Africans, a kind of hybrid cars that are not very suitable. Yeah, because I believe that the Africans nowadays, they're obliged to use new technologies because somewhere they're stuck. If you earn 200 euro per month, and if the petrol at the petrol station is €1.50, sometimes you have to choose. You have to work or you stay at home. This is very complicated, and if we don't pay attention to that, we might be in the same situation in some years. So that's, of course, the idea. So the development of the iCare, it's mainly based on visibility, communication, marketing, Brussels Car Show, then next year, those are partnership. Next year, we'll tour around Europe with 3 cars, 3 of those iCare concept cars, and we are going to present it in every capital cities of Europe during 4 months. And that will be a TV program, just to show also local initiatives, because I believe that there are not only one solution, but a lot of solutions, depends on the place where you live. So we would like, through this TV show, during that trip, to show and to visit some local initiatives, to promote them. So visibility, of course, this is the major point. Electric cars, at the time that in Belgium we have 127 electric cars. Of course, for the majority of the people, electric cars doesn't exist. Since 1950, every car show, the companies show electric cars and they say that's the car of the future. But now we are 60 years later, and it's still the car of the future for most of the people. So the future is today, I believe. So about this car, what we try to do also is to develop new technology. This is the dashboard of the car. Huh? You know what is it? It's very simple. At the time that you take it out from the car, you block the car, and it's not possible to use it. Of course, we have also the level of the batteries. Sorry, you don't see much, huh? So I can check the batteries. I'm here in Bilbao, but I know the level of my batteries. My car is in Brussels, so I know about the level of my batteries, and as you can see, it's empty. I don't know why. Maybe I have to phone someone to know what's happened over there. But what is interesting with this is if you want to save weight, and that's the major point, that's equivalent to a dashboard of a car, which is about 60 kilos in some cars. So 60 kilos, this is very light, and this is quite nice, and that's torque also. So instead to look always to my dashboard to see if it's there or if it's nice, you can also talk to me. I can choose the speed, where I have to go, because of course I have GPS inside, I have telephone, I have music, I have Skype, I have everything. So, and I can use it for other purposes, and I also can check my house prototype to see the level of the charge, to see the temperature inside, etc. So that's my new dashboard for daily life. That's, I think, much better than a dashboard everywhere. And that can be also in the house, the keyboard of the only screen of the house. And the only screen of the house is put on a pillar, and you can lift it to the room and to the kitchen, etc. So the idea is to reduce the amount of material. If you reduce the amount of material, of course, you don't consume too much, and then it's less costly. Of course, then the question is sustainability. Is it this one will stay for more than a year? That's the question. So it might be programmed to die in 1 or 2 years, maybe. So, but it's the same with the car. So that's why we try to develop this concept. If we are using LiPo batteries, lithium polymer batteries, and they are supposed to be refilled 3,000 times. If you refill a car 3,000 times, so that means 10 years of life. And we know very well that in 10 years, we'll live on our garbage. And then we'll find solutions to recycle those components. That's quite interesting. It's the same with the solar panels. Now you can get 20 years of warranty of the solar panel systems. So that's the project that I'm doing. I'm not alone, of course. I'm not a technician. I'm an anthropologist. But I just feel that it's important to move and to go forward with such a kind of ideas. And strangely, I got those ideas from my African experience. Thank you.